All right, so we're gonna go ahead and log in. All right, and we're going to click events in the middle. This is all the public events. We can go ahead and create a new event by clicking the plus in the top right. We can add a photo, we'll add a random photo, and we'll call it 2023 HyperCon, we'll call it HyperCon Games. And we'll select a live competition, open entry, click next. And we won't worry too much about setting a price or anything. You're gonna be adding the participants yourself. We're gonna add 2 divisions. So we're gonna do men and women, and we're just gonna select individual. We're not gonna worry too much about the other options in here. You can look at these if you want, go into more depth with them, but they're pretty straightforward, mostly pertaining to, adding passwords, entry caps, that kind of thing. All right, so we have men and women, both individual. We'll set registration open, but again, that's not going to matter much. We'll set the date for the 28th. We'll say 10 a.m. And we're gonna go ahead and let it end the following day on the 29th. We'll just say 5 p.m. We can add a workout here if you want now, or you can do it later. It doesn't matter when you do it, but we'll just go ahead and kind of add just 2 workouts in here. We'll just call 1 reps. You can add obviously all the details yourself and the workout details. If you need additional things like movement standards, you can add them here. You can add rules, and you can also change who inputs the score, but we're going to leave it for official because you're going to be the one actually inputting the scores. You can also set the actual release dates for these workouts as well, where they'll be hidden until that date. We're going to go ahead and add just another one, but again, you're probably going to have many workouts in here. So we'll just say times, and then we have reps and times. Let's change that to time. It's kind of weird. There we go. And then add an official, we'll say judge, and we'll say that this account is going to be the judge. You're going to log in and use this account to do it. Prizes, you can add prizes if you want, but we're not going to worry about that right now. And we go into additional options. We can actually set the event group to be hybrid fitness. We can add a location, which will give somebody the ability to actually see a physical location they're able to click on, and it'll actually take them to a Maps app that will give them directions if they need it. So again, you can actually go in here, add a new address, and click done, and that should allow you to have that populate on the page. Live scoring is going to be, if you want people to actually see the score as it's being input, you want live scoring to be probably a yes. Live judging, you definitely want to be a yes because you want to be able to actually judge during the event and not have to wait until after the event ends. So not having live judging is more for, online competitions and things like that. Lock entry early, you're probably going to want to lock it immediately so that nobody can just publicly join the event. You're going to be adding all the participants yourself. And then you can hide passwords, make it unlisted, all of these kind of additional options. Elevated access would be if you wanted to add additional Profit accounts as judges, so you could have multiple judges. You can even have people judging directly from their phone, which would be kind of nice. But again, that just gets a little bit more complicated. So if you want to keep things simple, just leave this account as the only judge. Heats, lanes, and areas would be for creating an actual schedule. And you could do that, but you're going to want to add the participants first. And again, this gets a little complicated, but I can do a quick kind of overview of how that would work at the very end. Competition fields would be if you wanted to kind of add something like a digital waiver. You could select document, upload your PDF, and then you could actually put all of the places people would sign or input areas in there. And then you could actually have people sign directly from your computer. If you had something kind of like a registration check-in or something along those lines, you could have everybody come in from the registration modal and they would sign the document directly from your computer themselves. So again, this would just be if you don't want paper waivers, but if you do want paper waivers, that's a whole other story. So if you want more information on that, I actually have a whole video on just uploading virtual waivers. So just let me know and I can send it over. Again, we're going to say no, and then additional details would just be additional information that you want people to know about the event. You can go ahead and you can just fill that out to have whatever you want in there. All right, so that would be done. We're going to go ahead and we're going to publish this. Once the event's published, it's actually live. It's in the event, live in the events page. If you want, you can actually add all of the registrants from this page, or you can go to the participant view. Either one is an option. I particularly like the participants view just because that's also where the judging occurs. And so the judging does not occur from the create and update page. It is only the participant page. So this page can kind of do it all except edit, It's just everything that has to do with running the event is done from the participant page. So if you want to switch between divisions, you can switch right there. You can also do it within the judging modal. You can see the workouts. You can see the start and end date, and this is also where the address or location would be as well. This is visible on the actual public events page here, so that would be under the hybrid fitness category. And so if you go to judge right now, obviously there's no actual entries in here. This is where you'd switch the division in the judging modal. And so what we need to do is we actually need to add registrants or participants. So we go to the gear icon here, and we go to registration. And within the registration modal, there is these 3 vertical dots here. You would click that and you click add participant. You can add a photo of the person. This is where you'd actually select the division you want to add. So men, you could say Matt Stevens, done. If you want to add a picture, you can. If you want to add an email address, you can also do that. And that'll actually send them an email invite to join ProFit and link their account to this user. So if they want direct access to the event, you can do so. So again, I'll just put myself in there. All right, so we have 2 participants in the men division, and then we can go ahead and we can add our participant to women as well. And actually what you can do here is you can filter by division. So if you wanted to see women only, you can see no results when you add participant. All right, we can go ahead and we can say women. We'll add a woman in there. Go ahead, add participant. And you see that whatever the last participant that was added is going to be the selection that actually occurs here. So right now, women is going to stay. And so we can just say Jane Doe. Right, so now we have 2 men, 2 women. You're obviously going to have a significantly larger amount, but if you need to go back to all divisions, you can submit that. We can see all of our entries right here. And once we actually have entries in here, they'll be populated on the judging modal as well. So if we go to the judging modal, if we go to reps now, you can actually see that we are within the men division. We have both the mats. And if we need to add reps in here, we can say, 100 reps. We can have a tiebreak order. You can actually add a public message that people can see. And we are going to go ahead and, submit that. So now he has a score. Matt Stevens does not have a score for this particular workout, right? In overall, you'll actually see that Matt is above the other Matt. Matt Morgan is above Matt Stevens just because he has a single score for a workout where Matt has no score. So the overall standings work based off a point sum. When you look at the public leaderboard, they're only going to see the point sum. The place sum is really used just for tiebreak purposes. If you would like to actually have some sort of tiebreak, value based off of place sum, you can also just set the tiebreak value yourself. So if they had the same number of points, there would actually be a tiebreak value here that you can add, and the lower tiebreak value will give a higher placing, if that makes sense. So 1 on a tiebreak value will be a 2 on a tiebreak value. It's really just a placing. So you're setting first place, second place for the tiebreak value. Now, if you want to see unscored entries, you can click this 3-dot option icon at the top right, and you'll have unscored entries. It'll show you all the divisions in here, men and women, and the workouts for each, right? So you can see that all of these are actually unscored. If you want to just score everybody in here, you can. You can go right down the list, and you could say, all right, Matt Stevens, we can click this edit, and we'll give him, 100 as well. And now this will actually make it so that everybody's tied. And so you can actually see, we come back in here, reps now has both the scores, overall has the same point sums, and now if you go in here, it'll actually have a tiebreak order as well. There is this break tie automatically option. Now, because they have the exact same scores, no matter what you choose, it's always going to remain a tie. So that's just something to note. It's almost impossible to happen in real life, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. But this tiebreak option is for a particular division. You can actually select all divisions, and it'll break all ties in all divisions, and it's either by workout or by finishes. You can read more about what those actually mean here, but we're not going to worry about breaking ties right now. One other thing is if you want to just view this person's workouts, you can click into their name, and you can actually submit the scores for an individual competitor as well for all of their workouts. So this is an additional option for scoring. So there are multiple ways to see, the way that things are scored, and it just depends on what's easiest for your event. You can go division by division, you can go workout by workout, you can go all unscored entries, and you could basically just run down the list. Whatever is easiest in terms of your event and how it's held, you can choose and go about it that way. So last but not least, this will basically be like this until the actual end time of your event. So the actual end time is October 29th at 5 p.m. At that point in time, a icon will appear that will say submit results. Now this is a final submit. Once you click submit results, it will be unchangeable. You will not be able to update a score. And so a lot of times people will actually wait until the day after just in case somebody complains, or they'll just wait until a set amount of time and they'll give people an option to, rebuttal a score or dispute a score up until a certain amount of time, at which point they will submit results and then it is final. There's no changing it after that. If you need to change this value, you can change this. You go switch it to 4 p.m., 3 p.m. If the event ends early, you can just do that within the actual edit page. So you go back to the edit page and you can just change this value, click update, and then you will actually have the submit results button available. Now, in terms of actually doing heats, lanes, and areas, if you come in here, you can actually add an area. This is kind of like, something like inside, outside, if there's two competition areas. Sometimes you have multiple sites, right? So there could be a pool site. There could be, again, different areas that are actually going to have the workouts in them, right? So you're going to add all your areas, and then you can add all of your heats directly inside of the areas, or you can switch to a chronological view and you can actually add things based off of time. So again, if we wanted to add a heat inside here, we could say, men heat 1. We can say it's going to be 15 minutes long. It'll actually update the time, so 10 a.m. to 10:15. This is the start time, this is the workout, and then the number of lanes, we can say 5. We only have 2 participants, right? So you can autofill, or you can actually assign the participants manually to a lane. So if we go ahead and we autofill, we see Matt Morgan, Matt Stevens, and then we can actually add a competitor ID here as well that'll allow us to, again, enter a unique ID, bam, right? So you can actually add this unique ID in multiple places. I'll get into that in a second. But again, if you want to get into actually creating a schedule, this is how you would do it. You just continuously add heats. You can add transitions as well. And then, for instance, if we had another heat in here, let's just say we do men and the workout's going to be time. This is men heat 1 for this workout time. Again, we can do 5 lanes. We can say it's going to be 20 minutes this time. And we will go ahead, we'll autofill this, and we'll say that this is actually happening at noon, let's say. And now if we go ahead and we go to the schedule view, which is done by here, you can go ahead and click that, and we will see that we now have these 2 divisions, right? We have them in chronological order, and it's going to be 10 a.m. to 10:15, and then we have 12 p.m. to 12:20. If we wanted to add a heat, it'll actually start at 10:15, so it'll keep track of the timing and the duration, and so we can go ahead and continue creating heats for that purpose, right? So again, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna click that out now. If you need to export your heats, you can go ahead and you can click export heats here. This will export it to a CSV file that you can use to open up in something like Microsoft Excel. If you need to sync times, if you need to add an additional heat in here somewhere and then you need to sync all the additional times, there will be this clock icon here. This will sync all of the times for things coming after, right? And so it does it in a particular way, so it'll actually do it based off of areas and based off of workouts and divisions. So there is some intelligence going on to this, and so it does it in a way to where it should actually make sense for the event. And so that would be heats, lanes, and areas. Again, you can add, obviously the unique IDs in here, or you can add them actually in the registration modal itself. So if we were to actually pull that registration modal back up, you can do it from this page, or you can do it from the participant view. I'll just open it up here. If we open up a person, we'll see that entry ID here. So that entry ID is the exact same one that happens in the heats, lanes, and areas. So if you needed to, you could say, men in D1, something along those lines. You can add them here, and then when you actually open up the heats, lanes, and areas, that will be the same in there. If we need to change a division for a user, we can do so by clicking the division, and that would actually change the division to whatever you need it to. If you need to update this added participant, you can see status added, right? So you're going to click that, and it's going to give the ability to either remove the athlete or edit the athlete. If we need to edit the athlete, we can actually change the name or the picture. We can give this person a picture, right? We'll give myself that's not me, but good looking guy. And then update participant and men, and then we click done. Right, if you need to change the email, you can do so. By changing the email, it'll send a new email out to whatever new email address you put in there. And again, allow them to actually link up their accounts. So again, we have all the participants here. If we want to grab the public link to actually share to people, this would be more of a sign up link, right? So I wouldn't necessarily say sharing this link would be the smartest thing to do, but we have our public leaderboard and our public schedule as well. If we go ahead and we open this up, we can see that this is a public leaderboard that you can actually put up on a computer. You can add multiple facets where we can actually show different divisions. If we click this icon in the middle, it'll actually turn on presentation mode where it'll cycle through workouts, it'll cycle through divisions, and if we start at different divisions, it should actually do so in a way to where it's always different since it's cycling at the same rate. You can zoom out, you can zoom in, you can add as many of these layers as you want. It'll just keep layering them sideways. And again, you can share this leaderboard link up here. It will be pr.fit/leaderboard/your event ID. And that's done so. Obviously, you can grab this from just clicking this link. And when you get to this actual link, you will be able to copy and paste it, right? So again, if you just click this, again, you'll have your leaderboard up here. You can get rid of everything after the question mark if you need to, and have just share the link that is before the question mark. That's up to you. Doesn't matter too much either way. If you share the link with the question mark, it'll still be fine. So final thing I want to go through is if you do decide to create a schedule, we actually have the public schedule as well. So again, this will just kind of show the events or the divisions for that day. You can leave all divisions, you can filter by division, and then it should show everything with the lanes already expanded. It shows the actual participant ID in here as well. And then presentation mode is a little bit different. It doesn't cycle through on presentation mode. What it does is it makes sure that if this is a long scrollable list, it will make sure that the actual current heat is at the top. So it'll actually calculate the time, what time it currently is right now, and it'll make sure that if it's 12 p.m. on Saturday, October 28th, this will be at the top, and then everybody will see everything below that, right? And so it will automatically scroll to the current heat so that everybody can reference that board wherever it is shown publicly, and they'll be able to actually see what lane they are or what time some future heats are happening, right? Or next heat, right? So the important stuff that's current for that point in time. All right, so that's basically everything. And again, if you need to edit anything, you can in the edit page, and then the participant page is where you would do all of your judging, and registration can be handled from either. And that should be it. Comments and things like that down here. And if you have any questions, let me know.